Most of us live in a digital walled garden. We boot up our computers and trust our software to act as a safe, predictable bridge to the outside world. But step outside those corporate walls, and you enter a territory where the rules of software development are inverted. Out here, some operating systems are built specifically to function as stolen property, classified state secrets, or tools of sabotage. The files on this list carry consequences that exceed a standard terms of service violation. Depending on the ISO, possession can trigger federal espionage charges, hardware destruction, or integration into global criminal syndicates. Mounting one of these images changes your relationship with the hardware. You are no longer a consumer using a tool. You are operating code that the law and the silicon itself was never meant to handle. Take SkyOS, for example. Unlike Windows or macOS, this wasn't built by a massive corporation. It was an independent project coded from scratch by a single developer. For years, it grew a massive following thanks to a futuristic interface that rivaled the major tech giants. Then, the corporate giants took a closer look. They alleged that the underlying architecture of SkyOS utilized their proprietary code. The ensuing $30,000 copyright dispute buried the project in cease and desist orders overnight, making it illegal to distribute or share. Civil IP theft is one thing, but the dark web harbors code built for physical destruction. This brings us to Condemned OS, a system written with exactly one malicious goal: to permanently destroy your computer's hardware. To achieve this, it relies on low-level engineering hard-coded to bypass modern thermal protections. The moment the boot sequence initiates, the operating system aggressively overvolts the CPU, forcing massive amounts of electricity through circuits never meant to handle that load, while simultaneously disabling every cooling fan in the rig. Within minutes, the computer's internal components physically liquefy, leaving behind a useless brick of warped solder and the smell of ozone. These two examples prove that an operating system isn't bound to the digital realm. A user interface can cross the line into illicit contraband or become a localized weapon. Other systems are built defensively, operating in extreme legal gray areas to evade surveillance. Consider tinfoil hat Linux and its response to Tempest. Tempest is a real-world espionage technique used by intelligence agencies to spy on computers from a distance by intercepting the electromagnetic radiation leaking from monitors and cables. Tinfoil hat Linux actively counters this. It includes specialized anti-forensic protocols that scramble the screen output and constantly manipulate internal data processing speeds, effectively masking those emissions from anyone listening. Then there is Wunix, a distribution that takes anti-forensics even further. Its entire architecture is designed to make the user invisible to every global intelligence agency. It achieves this total isolation by routing every single packet of data through multiple layers of encryption and disposable virtual machines. By the time your connection reaches the open web, Wunix has stripped away your IP address and hidden your hardware's unique digital footprint. In certain jurisdictions, simply being caught with a bootable drive containing these extreme tools is enough to land you on a government watch list. The authorities operate on the assumption that the only logical reason to use a system this extreme is to hide activities the law cannot see.
Not all hidden operating systems are trying to evade detection. Some want to spread. Mobius is notorious in underground hacking circles as an inverted operating system. Instead of blocking viruses, its kernel is explicitly designed to act as a digital petri dish to breed, test, and optimize virulent worms and ransomware. Booting Mobius is an act of digital insanity. Under global cybercrime facilitation laws, possessing it is illegal because its primary function is to act as a launchpad, deliberately infecting every other machine on your local network. An even more deceptive parasite is Loser OS. It was distributed on free software sites, masquerading as an ultra-fast, bloat-free gaming operating system built to squeeze every possible frame of performance out of a PC. In reality, the software is entirely hollow. The moment you install it, Loser OS guts your system's resources and converts your machine into a zombie node, linking it to a massive, interconnected global botnet. While you think you're enjoying high frame rates in your favorite game, your processor is actually being hijacked by a remote command server to launch distributed denial-of-service attacks against national banks or hospital networks. Downloading these parasitic distributions strips away your agency. Without ever writing a line of malicious code yourself, your hardware makes you an involuntary accomplice in a global criminal syndicate. The highest threat level, however, comes from software built by nations. Gendbuntu is a highly restricted, heavily modified Linux distribution, weaponized specifically for the French Gendarmerie, a branch of the armed forces. To a civilian, this operating system looks like a crisp, professional desktop, but it is illegal to possess. A raw copy contains active, state-level government encryption keys and forensic backdoors meant exclusively for national security operations. And for offensive capability, there is CIBL, the Cyber Intelligence Bootable Linux. You won't find this in any public repository. It is a highly classified operating system utilized by intelligence agencies for state-level cyber warfare. CIBL is engineered to infiltrate air-gapped networks, systems physically disconnected from the internet, to target industrial control brains running power grids and water filtration plants. It functions as the software version of a cruise missile, fired from a laptop to cripple an enemy's critical infrastructure. Because this system is an offensive weapon, possession of the unredacted CIBL toolkit reclassifies a user as a threat to national security, leading to espionage investigations rather than simple copyright warnings. When we look closely at these systems, a clear reality emerges. Every operating system acts as a vehicle for its developer's intent. When that intent involves sabotage, evasion, or state-level warfare, the software becomes a liability for anyone who boots it. The moment you deliberately step outside the walled garden of commercial software, your protective status evaporates. You trade the safety of being a consumer for the high-stakes reality of becoming a criminal node or a target for national intelligence. Seeking out this digital contraband out of mere curiosity or to gain clout on an obscure message board invites massive legal and physical risks. The dark side of software engineering is very real. And for the unprepared, curiosity isn't just dangerous, it's an irreversible trap.